One diver has passed scuba gear and swims away in an attempt to hide it. The other surfaces and just as quickly dives after he spots the helicopter. Trapped and with nowhere to go, the suspect boat tries a run-up, but escape is futile. 400 kilometres east of the South Island, the Navy warship Canterbury is steaming towards the Chatham Islands. On board, Fishery Officers are working with the Navy on a 4-day operation, the second half codenamed Bubbles. The Navy Sea Sprite helicopter has been dispatched to locate the suspect boat and radio its position back to the Canterbury.
Set up for a 90-degree decelerating. Turn in.
They swoop in on the island at sea level to avoid being seen by the locals.
Now 12 miles, coming up 6 minutes, we've got 4 minutes, stretching 3 minutes of back. Roger, look. That should leave us 1 minute off our sleep. Might get a better view as we come round to the right crease.
Meanwhile, the Navy rib has already been launched.
Round the back here, I'll show you the...
Back on the Sea Sprite, it doesn't take the crew long to find the suspect's boat.
Got about 3 minutes to divert your attention to that.
Bingo! The suspects have been caught red-handed. But before they can escape, they have to retrieve 2 of their divers still in the sea. With the helicopter hovering over the target, the crew relay the boat's position to the approaching rib. Unfortunately for the suspects, they still have a scuba diver down nearby and must wait for him to surface. One diver ditches his scuba gear and pretends to snorkel. The other surfaces and just as quickly dives after he spots the helicopter. One diver has passed scuba gear and swims away in an attempt to hide it. On board the helicopter, the Navy observers note where the gear is being dumped. Trapped and with nowhere to go, the suspect boat tries a run-up, but escape is futile. On board the suspect's boat, Fish find over 250 kilograms of power. Having taken them illegally using scuba gear, it appears most of the gear has been dumped. The offenders can only watch in stunned silence. Meanwhile, the Navy divers head for where the suspects dumped their oxygen tanks to retrieve it as evidence. Half an hour later, and the Navy divers return with the dumped gear.
Here come the boys now.
Yep.
They've just been diving for the dive bottle and buoyancy comp that the divers were using on the day. As soon as they saw the chopper, they dumped them. And we've had a few divers, Navy divers down to see how they get on, see if they can pick it up. Sounds as if they've got the goods.
Yep, just brought these bottles in. This is the 3rd bottle we've got of these divers today, so that's a pretty good catch really. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg.
But for Fish, it's not over yet, as Peter and Craig have a few loose ends to tidy up on shore.
It's a big day here today. Multitudes are down here, obviously to see the Canterbury. And this could be as exciting as it gets here.
The plan now is we'll head over to Owinga to where the owner of the vessel and the diver lives, and we'll have a wee gentle talk with them and ultimately identify the gear they've been using today and uplift the vessel.
After statements are taken from the suspects, their boat and equipment is seized. The seized boat will be stored at the Chatham Islands Fish compound. Peter and Craig secure the evidence before returning to the Canterbury. Back on board, it's a resounding thumbs up for Operation Bubbles.
Caught them with their pants down, I think. Didn't know we were coming, arrived on top, saw everything we needed to see. I think they're quite surprised to see a warship and a helicopter in the Chatham Islands.
Oh, the crewman was really surprised because he saw the chopper come in, and all he did was grab his digital camera and start shooting off shots at that. And the diver, when he came up, he just had this supercilious grin on his face, knowing he'd been caught, and was just a stunned mullet, really. There, he just couldn't believe it.
2 men were found guilty under the Fisheries Act and fined $6,000. Their fishing boat and equipment were also forfeited to the Crown. The Canterbury is barely a day out of port when they make their first intercept. The Celeste is a Korean trawler fishing for hoki. M-Fish's job is to check that the trawler's paperwork and net sizes are in order. Craig will lead the boarding party, but the rough seas could make it too dangerous to board the vessel safely. However, they decide to give it a go. But as they close in on the Celeste, it's looking like a decision they could regret. The sea swells are reaching 2 to 3 metres, and boarding the rolling trawler may be impossible. But after a few missteps, Craig finally gets a foothold on the ladder. Once on board, Craig gets straight to the task of checking the trawler's catch.
Why are these here?
And the size difference.
Okay, can we weigh some? We weigh these?
With everything looking a bit rough, Craig must assess the accuracy of their onboard quota management systems. That includes the weighing of fish.
Okay, so that's me. You have some cartons, or you have some cartons ready to go in blast freezer?
Yeah,
Is it in the freezer or some waiting?
waiting.
Can we have a look?
Have a look.
Yeah.
All the fish on board must be checked. That includes fish already packaged and in the freezer.
Are these empty?
Yeah.
Just that one?
Yeah.
What about that one over there?
Nothing.
Nothing, all empty?
Yes, empty. And just the one.
This is to ensure the amount caught tallies with the recorded catch.
We just got some trays of fish, ling, a bit of hoki, some ribaldo. We're just going to weigh them and see how they compare with what he says they should be. How's the ship looking, sir?
It's a time-consuming job, and deep in the bowels of the rolling boat requires a strong stomach.
Well, apart from being a bit shitty and a bit old and a bit grubby, everything's finished, and really it's just a matter of running through these processes and just getting some form of records for future guys having to do a check at the port and decide to weigh fish species.
Up on deck, Craig's next job is to inspect the nets to ensure the right size mesh has been used.
They've got a chafer here, which means they've got a double mesh. They aren't allowed to have a double mesh.
The captain makes an appearance, but with little English, he's not much help.
You cannot use the green mesh, okay? But you can use the blue one. The blue one is okay. Green one, no.
Finally, the Celeste gets the all clear. Over the next 2 days, M-Fish and the Canterbury make another 7 intercepts before reaching the Chathams.